My fiancé whispered. He makes me feel alive. I answered, then breathed somewhere else, sold our home, burned the wedding plans, disappeared completely, and laughed when alive left her with a lifetime reminder. Hey Reddit. He makes me feel alive in ways you never could. I looked up from my laptop, coffee cup frozen halfway to my lips. Mia stood in our bedroom doorway, phone clutched in her hand, tears streaming down her face. But they weren't tears of guilt or shame. They were tears of frustration, like she was angry I'd caught her. Then breathe somewhere else, I said, setting down my cup with deliberate calm. You've got 48 hours to pack your things and get out of my house. Her face went white. Your house? We bought this together. Check the deed, Mia. My name. My down payment. My mortgage. You contributed decorating tips and complained about the kitchen tile. I turned back to my screen. Clock's ticking. I'm 26. Was engaged for 8 months to a woman I'd dated for 3 years. We'd just sent out wedding invitations 2 weeks prior. The venue was booked, the photographer paid, her dress hanging in our closet like a ghost of the future we'd never have. The phone call I'd accidentally overheard through our thin apartment walls that morning had revealed everything. Mia, laughing in a way she hadn't laughed with me in months, telling someone named Devin that she couldn't wait to see him again, that he made her feel things I never could, that she was only going through with the wedding because I was stable and safe. Safe. Like I was a fucking insurance policy. I'd spent my entire 20s building something. Got my engineering degree at 22, landed a position at a tech firm making solid 6 figures by 24, bought this house at 25. Mia worked part-time at a boutique, more for fun than necessity, since I covered 90% of our expenses. I'd never held that over her head. I loved her. I wanted to build a life with her. Apparently, I was just the foundation she'd planned to build someone else's happiness on. You're being dramatic, Mia said, that familiar condescending edge creeping into her voice. It's just, I needed someone to talk to. You're always working, always focused on the next project. Was that Devin's dick you were talking to? Because that's a hell of a therapy session. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. We haven't. It's not physical. Yet. I pulled up my phone, started scrolling through contacts. Emotional affair, physical affair, doesn't matter. The wedding's off. I'm calling the venue in the morning. You can't just cancel everything. People are expecting. Let them expect disappointment. I'm getting really comfortable with it. She tried a different tactic, softening her voice. Baby, please. Can we just talk about this? I made a mistake. I got confused. Cold feet, you know? Every bride goes through. Every bride tells another man he makes her feel alive 2 weeks before her wedding. I stood up, grabbed my keys. I'm going to my brother's. When I come back tomorrow evening, I want you gone. Leave your key on the counter. Where am I supposed to go? Call Devin. I'm sure he'll make you feel real alive while you're sleeping on his couch. I walked out, got in my car, and drove to my brother Chris's apartment across town. He took one look at my face and cracked open a beer without asking questions. Wedding's off, I said, accepting the bottle. Thank fuck, Chris said. I never liked her anyway. You could have mentioned that before I bought a ring. Would you have listened? Probably not. I'd been so convinced Mia was the one. She was beautiful, funny when she wanted to be, and we'd had good times together. But looking back with clear eyes, I realized most of our relationship had been surface level. We didn't talk about real things. She didn't know my actual dreams, my fears, what kept me up at night. She knew I made good money, owned a house, and would give her the comfortable life she wanted. I'd been a meal ticket with a pulse. What are you going to do? Chris asked. Honestly, burn it all down and start over. He raised his beer. Poetic. I'm in. The next 48 hours were a blur of phone calls. I canceled the venue, lost the deposit, didn't care. Called the caterer, the photographer, the DJ. Each cancellation felt like peeling off a layer of dead skin. The photographer was cool about it, even offered to do a divorce party shoot if I ever needed it. I laughed for the first time in 2 days. My parents were devastated but supportive. Mom cried. Dad said he'd had concerns about Mia's commitment level but hadn't wanted to interfere. Classic parents, seeing the train wreck, letting you crash anyway because you need to learn. Mia's parents called me 6 times. I ignored them all. When I returned to the house, Mia was gone. She'd taken her clothes, her laptop, that stupid decorative ladder she'd insisted we needed. She'd left the engagement ring on the kitchen counter with a note. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." The note went in the trash. The ring went back in its box. I'd return it later, get back what I could. But she'd also left something else, a manila folder tucked under the ring box. Curious, I opened it. Divorce papers. Blank, printed from some online legal service, but divorce papers nonetheless. We weren't even married yet, and she'd already been planning her exit strategy. The laugh that came out of me was borderline unhinged. This woman had been preparing to lock me down, marry me, then divorce me and take half of everything I'd worked for. The house, my savings, probably alimony since she barely worked. I called my lawyer friend, Tom, immediately. I need advice, and I need it now. Tom had me bring over everything: the house deed, bank statements, the printed divorce papers, screenshots of my phone records showing Mia's excessive calls to one number over the past 3 months. He reviewed everything with the clinical precision of someone who'd seen this movie before. "You dodged a nuke," he said finally. "If you'd married her and she'd filed a year later, you'd be screwed. Community property state. She'd get half the house value, half your savings, possibly spousal support. Can I protect myself? In case she tries something. She can't do anything now. You're not married. The house is yours. Your accounts are separate. But I'd recommend moving any shared assets immediately, changing passwords, the works. Document everything. If she tries to claim you owe her something, we'll laugh her out of court." I followed his advice to the letter. Moved money, changed every password, installed security cameras around the house. Maybe paranoid, but I'd learned paranoia was just pattern recognition. For 2 weeks, silence. I threw myself into work, picked up extra projects, started going to the gym at 5 a.m. Physical exhaustion helped quiet the mental noise. Then my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Unknown number. "Hello. You bastard." Mia's voice, slurred and furious. "You ruined everything." "I didn't ruin anything. You did that yourself." "Devin left. He said," she hiccuped. "He said he wasn't looking for anything serious. That I misunderstood. That we were just having fun." The laugh escaped before I could stop it. "Let me guess. The guy who made you feel so alive didn't want to deal with the reality of actually being with you. Fuck you. No thanks. I've learned where that leads. I'm pregnant." The words dropped like a bomb. "It's Devin's. He won't answer my calls. My parents kicked me out when I told them. I have nowhere to go." For a moment, just a moment, I felt bad for her. Then I remembered the divorce papers. The calculated betrayal. The plan to use me as a safety net while she got her thrills elsewhere. "That's rough," I said, voice flat. "Truly. But it's not my problem anymore. Please. I made a mistake. Can't we fix this?" "Fix what, Mia? You didn't accidentally trip and fall into an emotional affair. You didn't mistakenly print out divorce papers before we even got married. You made choices. He made choices. Now you both get to live with the consequences. I'm begging you. You made your choice when you whispered into your phone that Devin made you feel alive. You chose excitement over stability. You wanted to breathe somewhere else, remember? So breathe. Figure it out. But don't call me again." I hung up, blocked the number, sat in my kitchen, hands shaking. Chris showed up 20 minutes later. I texted him immediately after the call. He brought whiskey and common sense. "You did the right thing," he said, pouring 2 glasses. "Doesn't feel right. Because you're a good person. Good people feel bad, even when they do the right thing. Doesn't mean you should have taken her back. She's pregnant and homeless. She's an adult who made adult choices. She's got parents, friends, Devin's parents if she wants to track them down. The world won't let her starve. But the second you help, you're back on the hook. She'll make it your responsibility. She'll manipulate you into playing dad to another man's kid while she figures out her next move. I knew he was right, but knowing didn't make it easier. Over the next month, I heard through mutual friends that Mia had moved in with her cousin 2 states over. That Devin had blocked her everywhere when she tried to claim he needed to support the baby. That she'd posted a long Facebook rant about men being trash and how she'd learned painful lessons about trust. The lack of self-awareness was almost impressive. I sold the house. Couldn't stand living in a space haunted by plans that would never materialize. Made a decent profit, too. Market was hot. I bought a smaller condo downtown, modern and sleek, with no memories attached. Work promoted me. Apparently, channeling heartbreak into productivity made me a model employee. My project won an industry award. I started traveling for conferences, meeting people who actually shared my interests. At a tech conference in Seattle, I met Nicole. She was a software developer, brilliant and funny, with zero interest in playing games. We grabbed coffee, talked for 4 hours about everything from machine learning to terrible sci-fi movies. She asked for my number. I gave it to her. We took things slow. I was honest about my baggage, the canceled wedding, the betrayal, the trust issues I was working through. She appreciated the honesty, shared her own history of a toxic relationship that had ended 2 years prior. "We're both damaged goods," she said, grinning. Perfect match. 6 months later, I was happier than I'd been in years. Nicole met my family. My mom loved her immediately. Chris said, "This one's got a brain and a spine. Marry her." "Little fast," I said. "You know when you know." I didn't propose, not yet. But I thought about it. Actually thought about building a future with someone who saw me as a partner, not a provider. Someone who paid her own way, challenged me intellectually, made me want to be better without making me feel inadequate. Then, 14 months after everything imploded, I got an email. From Mia. Subject line, "Please read." I almost deleted it. Should have deleted it. But curiosity killed the cat, and apparently, it was about to wound the engineer. "I know I have no right to contact you. I know you've moved on. I saw the photos on your brother's Instagram. She seems nice. You look happy. I'm glad. I wanted you to know that I had the baby. A girl. She's beautiful and exhausting, and I'm figuring it out. My cousin's been helping, and I got a full-time job at a marketing firm. I'm making it work. I also wanted to apologize. Really apologize, not the half-assed note I left. I was selfish and cruel. I took you for granted. I thought stability was boring, that I needed excitement to feel like I was living. I was an idiot. Devin was a fantasy. You were real. I didn't appreciate real until I lost it. I'm not asking for anything. Not money, not reconciliation, nothing. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, and that I hope you're genuinely happy. You deserve it. Take care." I read it 3 times. Showed it to Nicole. "How do you feel?" she asked. Honestly, nothing. Maybe a little satisfied that she finally gets it, but mostly just nothing. That chapter's closed. Are you going to respond? No point. What would I say? Thanks for the apology a year too late. She's living her life. I'm living mine. Some stories don't get neat endings. Nicole kissed my forehead. That's growth, babe. I deleted the email. Didn't block her, didn't need to. She'd said her piece. I'd heard it. Book closed. 3 years after the wedding that never was, I proposed to Nicole on a hiking trip in Colorado. No elaborate plan, no pressure, just the 2 of us on a mountain peak at sunset. She said yes before I finished the question. We had a small wedding, immediate family and close friends only. No drama, no cold feet, no secret affair partners. Just 2 people who'd both learned hard lessons about what matters, promising to build something real together. My best man, Chris, obviously. He gave a speech about how I'd almost married the wrong person and how grateful he was that I'd dodged that bullet, because otherwise I'd never have found the right one. Mom cried again, but happy tears this time. No one mentioned Mia. She was a cautionary tale, A lesson learned, a chapter I'd survived and grown from. I heard through the grapevine that Devin eventually came around, started co-parenting with Mia, even paying child support. Good for them, I guess. Hope the kid turns out okay. But whenever someone asks me about my first engagement, and they do, because people love drama, I tell them the truth. I was with someone who wanted the life I could provide, not the person I actually was. She found someone who made her feel alive, so I told her to breathe somewhere else. Best decision I ever made. Then I look at Nicole, who's usually rolling her eyes at me telling the story again, and I add, because it led me here. She always says, "You're so dramatic." And I always respond, "You married me anyway." Some people chase excitement and mistake it for love. Some people chase stability and mistake it for safety. The trick is finding someone who sees you as a whole person, flaws, dreams, boring Tuesday nights and all, and chooses you anyway. Not because you make them feel alive, but because life feels better when you're in it together. I could have taken Mia back. Could have played hero, raised Devin's kid, spent my life wondering when the next betrayal would come. Some guys do that. They convince themselves that forgiveness means accepting disrespect. But I learned something important. You can't save someone who doesn't think they need saving. And you definitely can't build a life with someone who's already planning the exit. When Mia whispered that Devin made her feel alive, she was really saying I was already dead to her. So I did the only rational thing. I became a ghost. Disappeared from her life completely. Left her to figure out what alive really meant when the fantasy ended and reality set in. Turns out, Devin made her feel alive for about 6 weeks. Then he made her feel abandoned, then desperate, then stupid. I made myself feel free. Nicole and I just celebrated our 2nd anniversary. We're talking about kids, actually planning them, together, as partners. We bought a house last year, both our names on the deed, equal investment. When we argue, we talk it through. When things get boring, we find new hobbies together. When life gets hard, we face it as a team. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's washing dishes and arguing about whose turn it is to clean the bathroom. Sometimes it's boring tax documents and arguing about whether we really need a new couch. But it's real. It's built on respect and honesty and genuine partnership. And every single day, I'm grateful I told Mia to breathe somewhere else. Because the air is so much cleaner without her in it.